new to all of us, so bear with us. We're with using all the new technology, and I'm so thrilled we can do this here with you today. So hello and welcome back for some of you to one of our now very popular online Thermomix workshops. And I'm glad you're here, even the weather is beautiful today, and I hope you have grabbed a beverage of your preference and your device, so you're sitting with us in the backyard or in the front yard, wherever you want to be, get a little bit of sun and enjoy our workshop that we have set up for you here today. It's today's theme is homemade from scratch, and we want to show you a couple of very basic things that are going to wow you, hopefully. So I'm Janny Falter. I'm one of the local team leaders here in the Melbourne Bayside area. And together with my beautiful team of very knowledgeable consultants, we want to show you some amazing basics made in your Thermomix. By basics, I mean pantry and fridge staples that you probably had no idea that you can make them actually yourselves. I'll introduce you to the team as we go. We're going to go around in 8 different kitchens today, and also just letting you know the recipes that we're making, all but one of them are actually available for you on Cookie Do. And the majority of these recipes are actually to be found in your basic cookbooks. You have the white one, or you've got the green one, or even a different version if you have a TM31 or older. That's the TM6 basic cookbook that came with it, and that's the TM5 basic cookbook. I'm going to show you where to find a couple of those recipes and tips and tricks later on whilst we're doing this. We're also happy to share you the link to the recipes on Cookie Do, and yeah, so just so you know, so you can remake them in your own kitchens later on. All right, so we're also going to talk a little bit about what you can do with these staples, so what recipes, and yeah, what's the best use of them. And also, yeah, so we had a little think about what's actually the benefit of making these items from scratch versus buying them just from the shelves. And obviously, so I found a couple of reasons why you may want to consider making these yourselves. So first of all, they're fresh. Second of all, they're available. So you don't, stand there in front of an empty shelf, potentially. You're going to save money. We talk about that. They're quick. They're very easy. If you need to be aware of, because you have some health conditions or, let's say, allergies or something. So if you're making them from scratch at home, then you avoid preservatives, additives in your food. You know exactly what's in your food, and absolutely have less waste. And one of the major points is really, so I want you to think about it. I'm very proud if I make things like that from scratch by myself. So I love to show off a little bit, and like when people ask me, it's like, well, have you made that yourself? And I was like, yes, I've made that myself. So it makes me very proud if people think I'm a chef, which I'm actually not. So, but with a little help of my Thermomix friend, I can do amazing things that I've never thought I could do. However, without any further ado, we are going to pop into the first kitchen for today, and that is going to be with Chris. So, Chris, whilst we're waiting to zoom into your kitchen, quickly introduce you. Chris is with us for quite some time already, and Chris has gone vegan a while ago. And Chris wanted to show you how we can make tofu from scratch. And here we go. So now we have unmuted you. And we're actually going to provide you two, now you're muted again, two tofu alternatives today. So Chris is going to show us a chickpea tofu, and I'm very proud of her because she's made that recipe herself, and it's uploaded on the Bayside, not at the Bayside, sorry, the Thermomix recipe community. Okay, so Chris, we need to unmute you once more if you can have a look.
Yep.
Here we
go.
Can
you hear me now?
So
okay. Cool.
Now the stage is all yours.
Now the stage is all mine. Great. Okay, so yeah, like Janny said, I'm making a different kind of tofu today with chickpeas. So if you're keen on making tofu, there are a few recipes on our recipe community, and there's also a lot on YouTube. Okay, so I did quite a fair bit of looking around. A lot of the recipes you start off with chickpeas or soybeans, and then you make milk and then you strain it. So you're left with the pulp, and then from the milk that you've got, you can make your tofu. And that required using some kind of like a lemon juice or a vinegar to sort of, a little bit like making cheese, to help it separate. And then you would strain it and go through quite a few steps. I mean, all quite basic and achievable, but still quite a few steps. And for me, it was also, you know, open to a little bit of discrepancy. So then I found one with chickpea flour, and I thought, oh, okay, that's pretty easy. All I need is chickpeas and water, because we can make our own chickpea flour from chickpeas. Okay. If you've ever done it before, you'll know it's really easy, and they call it besan flour. If you haven't done it before, just beware when you do, it makes a real loud racket for a couple of seconds, and then the sound dies down, and after a minute you're left with a beautiful fine besan flour. So I've got 300 grams here of, I thought, well, I won't do that online because in the class, because it would be a little bit noisy and unnecessary. So I've got in my bowl, I've got my 300 grams of besan flour, and I'm going to weigh in my 600 grams of water. I will turn the machine, oh, well, you know how that works. So I'll do 300 grams of water. There we go. And then now I'll swivel it down, and what I'm going to do now, and this is what I wanted to find, with your TM6, on the second page of functions, we have the thicken one. Okay, so I actually reduced the minutes. So basically it's for making sauces, cheese sauce, hollandaise sauce, custards, all sorts of things. And you'll find lots of information on Cookie Do. So it's already programmed at 12 minutes, 80 degrees. I'll actually just turn it down. Oh, no, it won't. I thought it did the other day. Anyway, I think once I start, I can reduce it. So basically, that's all I do, is now I turn it on. And it starts spinning. And the beauty of this recipe is, already it's dropped 2 minutes. It senses how long it needs to go for. So it'll sense when it's starting to thicken, and then it'll stop accordingly. Okay, so no use hanging around watching my machine for 10 minutes. I'll let you go back to Janny.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks so much for introducing us to this beautiful thickening mode that the TM6 has there for us in stock. We use the thickening mode for a lot of sauces. There's great recipes out there. For example, your bechamel, your sauce hollandaise, but also for the sweet stuff. So we can make custards and in anglaise sauces and, you know, stuff like that. So sky's the limit. But check out Cookie Do. There is a whole collection about thickening mode, and all you need to do is basically weigh in the ingredients, turn the dial, and let the machine do the rest for you. All right, wonderful. So thanks so much, Chris. We are heading now over to Michelle's kitchen. Michelle Fitzgerald, here we go. Wonderful, we can see you. And Michelle is going to show us how to make butter from scratch.
That's right. Welcome to my kitchen, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. I know you had a very tempting, beautiful day outside, but it's great that you made the better choice. And I hope you enjoy all the tips and tricks today as well. So so I'll be making butter. So let's start cooking. So the first thing you want to do is add your butterfly whisk. So for those who haven't used this before, it's great for making your meringues, cake mixtures, other things like casseroles or curries. You can actually put the butterfly whisk in, and that helps keep the meat whole. So if you don't want it to sort of shred, etc., etc. But one of my favorite ways to use the butterfly whisk is in risotto. So I hope you've tried the risotto because it is beautiful. So we've added that, and now we're going to add pure cream. So this little guy is hard to find at the moment. So pure cream, you do want to ideally get something close to expiry, or those quick sale items that's even cheaper for you. That's just because it's going to split quicker or separate quicker. So pour that in, and we're using 600 grams today. Now this is 100% pure cream, so there's no other additives or preservatives, which is really awesome. And depending on the brand that you use as well and when it is going to expire will depend on how quickly this butter will separate, or the cream will separate. So we've still got a few days to go because I think it was the 2nd of September. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how long it takes. So we've added the lid, and now we're going to start the process. So this will be around 1 minute. So Janny, did you want to go to someone else now?
Yeah, thank you very much. So maybe we do have a couple of questions regarding the butter. If you do have, then please pop them into the chat box here on Zoom. For our Facebook friends who are following us live, feel free to ask your questions also on Facebook in the comments. We have team members looking after you. And so depending, it's a great example here with the cream. So you can save a lot of money when you grab them when they have been heavily reduced, and nothing's wrong with the fresh cream that has a use by date tomorrow. Just make butter out of it, and so the fresher the cream, the longer it takes. But we're going to show you how long you actually have to whip it with using the butterfly. Sometimes especially in that recipe, the timing is only a suggestion. So I sometimes see people trying to make butter and it's actually just whipped cream, so it's not butter then. You have to keep going until you really can see the solids and the liquids have been separated. So we're going to show you that later today. So once the cream has finished whipping. And I think we're going to have a quick zoom into Sandy's kitchen. She is about to show us a very clever trick. And this is how to peel garlic in your Thermomix. No one likes to peel garlic, stinky fingers and so on. Sandy.
Thanks, Janny. How are you? So welcome everyone to my kitchen in Sandringham. So I just wanted to jump in very quickly and show everyone a little tip that we have to be able to peel garlic, because really who has time to stand there in the kitchen peeling garlic? So it is something that you don't need to do manually, and so I wanted to just show you how to do it. Does anyone know how to, some little hints and tips? Put it in the chat if you like. But what I'm going to do is show you, I'll be coming back later and doing some garlic oil and tandoori paste. So my kitchen smells very garlicky right now, but so I've just got garlic cloves, so they're not peeled. All I've done is just separate the bulbs of garlic into separate cloves. So I just have about, or maybe 12 bulbs here, 12 cloves. So all I'm going to do is just throw them unpeeled, just separated, into the Thermomix. Put your lid on, and I'm going to set this for 4 seconds, and it's really between 4 and 6. So depending on how many garlic cloves you've got in there. So like the tandoori paste, for example, takes 120 grams of garlic. But this is a great way to be able to peel your garlic. So 4 seconds. Make sure you're on reverse. So if you're not sure how to do that in a manual setting outside of Cookie Do, all you're doing is pressing the blade icon under the speed. So you've got a little blade icon there. So I'll just click on that and it will say down the bottom, reverse enabled. And I'm just going to turn the speed dial to speed 4. So 4 seconds, reverse, speed 4. So let's do that. Okay, let's see if the magic's happened.
Sounds too good to be true.
So what you've got is peeled garlic. So, and all the skins are all separate in the bowl. So how good is that? Brilliant.
That's amazing. Oh,
Save you so much time, especially if you're doing a lot of garlic for garlic paste and things like that. So try it. 4 seconds, reverse, speed 4.
yeah, wonderful.
Okay.
That's an amazing trick. Really, that's a showstopper itself. So I think we can finish the class now because now we've seen it all.
Thank
No,
you.
no, don't go anywhere. We have more where this is coming from. I think Chris's tofu is still cooking, so we can have a quick look back to Michelle's kitchen with the butter, and maybe we can have a look into her bowl.
Yeah, so I ended up adding an extra 2 minutes.
Yes.
It has separated. You can see the buttermilk now separated from the butter. So it ended up being 3 minutes in total, so not actually that long. So we're going to add the steaming basket in, or actually, I'll just take the whisk out for a second.
Yeah, butterfly needs to get out first. But again, just don't worry. So this was 3 minutes now because the cream was close to use by date. So if you do have fresh cream, don't worry, it can take up to 10 minutes. All right, just keep whipping until it looks like what you've just seen in Mitch's bowl.
Yes. So I've just added the steaming basket. So this is just going to help us strain it now. And I will pour it in now and hopefully not make a mess. There we go, beautiful buttermilk. So the thing I love about this recipe is not only have you got butter, but now you have buttermilk. So you've got lots of awesome ways to make butter, whether that's garlic and herbs or honey or just salt. You can make butter spreads, you can freeze it. You've just got so many options. You've also got buttermilk. So it's around 250 grams, give or take. And I'll probably be able to squeeze a little bit more out of that as well. And then you can use that in pancakes, scones, cakes, smoothies. So really the options are endless. Would love to know how you make your butter if you've tried it and what secrets you have. And it does store well, so you can keep it in the fridge, and there's different ways to keep it fresher. So if you do it, we're going to wash it again, but if you were to wash it one more time, so a second wash, then actually it will keep even fresher in your fridge. But like I said, you can freeze it too, so that's another option for you. I'm just going to move the buttermilk.
You can also flavor your butter. So for example, just had peeled your garlic in the Thermomix. You can use that, leave that in there. Add some herbs, some garlic, and have herb and garlic butter straight away.
So I'm going to add that back in now. So it's just basically the separated butter, the start of the butter. So we're going to add chilled water now. And this is the wash, so we're going to be washing it now. So we want 500 grams.
ask a question from the page. If you were making garlic butter, would you place the garlic in now with the cream or after?
I would probably do it after.
There's a herb and garlic butter recipe in the basic cookbook.
I personally like to flavour mine later because I don't always decide straight away what I want to do. But yeah, you definitely want to do any additions after you've washed the butter. So that's what we're going to do now. So we've just added 500 grams of chilled water. We've got the butter solids in there and my lid. Take that back. So like I was saying, if you do a second wash, that will keep your butter even fresher. So this is 5 seconds. We're going to wash the butter.
Yeah, and you can also freeze the butter afterwards, and you can also freeze the buttermilk. So we had a question here from Karen asking how long the buttermilk lasts for. If you you can't use it straight away, that's also perfectly fine to freeze it in ice cube size or in an ice cube tray, and just use them later in portions as you need them.
All right, so we're just going to now strain the rest of that wash off, or the rest of the water. So this isn't buttermilk, so you won't keep this. I don't know, Janny, if anyone has any ideas of what you can do with this, or if they just pour it down the drain, but I don't keep this.
No. Usually the second wash I don't keep either, only the first one.
Yeah. And thanks, Janny, for the tip with the straining the basket this way. It's definitely easier.
Yeah, that's something I've learned that a while ago. And the recipe actually asks you to take the butter out and strain it into the simmering basket, but I find it this way a lot easier to strain the buttermilk.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we're nearly there now. Just a little bit more liquid to come out. And remove the steaming basket. Okay, so now we've got the butter, which is really exciting. So let's have a look what it says next. Okay, so that's all separated and drained. So we've done all that. And now we can use it as needed. So I'm going to get some baking paper out. It's up to you how you want to do the next part. And this is sort of the fun bit now because you can decorate as you want, or you can leave it plain. But the first thing I would do is sort of shape it.
I'm 18 people.
And I actually got some beautiful fresh oranges from my neighbour the other day. So I'm going to be making an orange and poppy seed cake from Cookie Dough. That's how I'll be using my butter. But I'd love to do a herb butter as well because I've just recently started growing my own herbs. So I think that will be another way I'll do it next time. So
possibilities also. I'm thinking cinnamon butter, and that goes on top of a beautiful freshly baked donut. Oh. Okay.
I can also, can I just ask one question? I have someone on Facebook asking a question. So if the cream is almost off, how long does the butter actually last?
A good question. Janny, do you know the answer to that?
So because we're separating the liquid from the solids is the pure fat. So that's going to last a long time. The milk, the buttermilk that we're getting, so the liquids, that's the one that's about to go off. So because we're separating that, the butter itself, so the fat will last you for very much longer. Especially when you form it in a log, like we can see Michelle storing right here, and you can also keep it in the freezer. But the buttermilk is the one that's about to go off. So yes, you get definitely a couple of extra days, if not weeks, out of that close to use by date cream.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, it's basically got a lot.
Did you want to maybe talk about the Butterbell? Because you use your Butterbell.
I do. Yeah, so on the Mix Shop we have a Butterbell. That's a container that you can put the butter into and keep that into and add some water to it in the bowl, and it has I don't know what we're seeing right now. Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I have it in the kitchen. Sorry, I can't leave now and go and grab it. But check out the Butterbell on a Mix Shop. That's a great gadget where you can keep your butter fresh, and you can have it on your kitchen bench, so it doesn't need to go in the fridge. It stays fresh out there, and it's spreadable. So it's a very old method to keep the butter. Here it is. Thanks so much for showing that, Cindy.
I also have another question on Facebook, Janny.
Yes.
Someone is asking, so 600 mils of cream makes roughly how much butter? So how many grams?
Good question, Mitch. Can we
Just check the notes
on the scales?
Yeah, true. Good point.
Without the box, just on the machine.
Oh, that's all right. I'll just do it this time.
Find out for you. I love these questions.
Sorry, I'll just tidy up here. So there is a bit of liquid still here, so I probably need to drain it a little bit or strain it a little bit more.
Just roughly.
My fingers are dirty, so it's not sliding. There we go. So that is 290.
Wow, there you go. So it's almost 300 grams of butter out of 600. That's great.
Thank you.
And I'm just going to be putting it into this beautiful butter tray or container. And then I'll be putting it straight into my cake later on this afternoon.
Great. Wonderful. Thanks so much for sharing that, Michelle. We come later back into your kitchen to see the coconut milk. But now we're heading over to Kim in Sandringham. No, not Sandringham. Sorry, it's Kim in Brighton. And she is showing us how to make goat cheese. That is still on my to-do list. And I'm very curious what we're going to see.
Okay, just unmuting. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Yes, okay, jolly good. Yes, used to be Sandringham, but of course now I've shifted to Brighton because I'd done all the streets in Sandringham. So I've come to Brighton to make goat's milk, goat's cheese. So goat's cheese is something I absolutely love to eat, which I think a lot of people do. And when I saw the recipe come up on Cookie Dough, I thought, oh, okay, not too many ingredients. This looks easy. I think I can handle this. So I've made it a few times and it's delicious. And you can also change the flavour slightly as well with adding, maybe some honey, different salts, lime juice, lemon juice, anything like that. So to start with, the different milks that you can use, you need a litre of milk. So these are the two that you'll find most common in the supermarket. This is your long life goat's milk, and this is as fresh as you can get goat's milk. If you've got a goat out the back, even better. They're both much the same price. So yeah, it's entirely up to you. The only advantage I would say of getting the long life milk is that it's already at room temperature. And when you do start making your goat's cheese, you need it at room temperature. So I did one the other day using this one, and of course I forgot, had to be at room temperature. So I just added on a few more minutes, factoring in the time it would take to get to room temperature. So that worked beautifully. So they're the two that you look for. It's can be a long process and it can be a short process. So I have already cooked my goat's milk because that takes 10 minutes. So you just put in a litre of the milk and cook it for 10 minutes at 80 degrees, exactly what the recipe says. 80 degrees is the exact temperature that the goat's milk needs to cook at, and it needs to be constantly stirred. So Thermomix is perfect for doing goat's cheese. Once it's been done, then you add in 55 grams of lemon juice or lime juice, or if you want to, you can even add some vinegar in as well, or you can do half and half. And you cook that for 1 minute, and then you just let it cool down. Now, the recipe on Cookie Doo then says, put it into a thermoserver, keep it warm overnight. So I've done that once, and yeah, a bit of a challenge, keeping it warm overnight. I did warm up my wheat bag in the microwave, take the wheat bag out, and then put the thermoserver inside the microwave so it's warm. However, I've done a bit of research and I have found other recipes for goat's cheese that are not Thermomix recipes, and they just go straight from cooking the milk to then making the goat's cheese. So I'm going with that because I'm all for getting it done now. So what else you need is your simmering basket, perfect for straining, and some cheesecloth or muslin cloth. And that just sits in there. Now you want it actually a few layers. I've got 2 layers here, but I've got 2 lots of these, so you can use 4 layers because you want to trap all those beautiful goat's cheese curds into here. You don't want them losing them through the basket. Then you put it into a really old, ancient Tupperware container. Sit that in there like that. So as I say, this has already been cooked. I mean, it's just a bit hard to show you, but it looks like curdled milk. And then we just strain that, pour it in. Smells like goat's milk. And then you let that sit for a little while, for about 2 hours while it strains through. So now the secret is, as it's straining through, because quite a lot comes out, I have found from a litre of milk, you get about 200 grams of goat's cheese. So it still works out cheaper than actually buying your own goat's cheese. So this will strain through, but you don't want the bottom of this simmering basket to be sitting inside the liquid. Otherwise, it's not going to strain very well. So a little trick that you can do is you get a taller container like this, a wooden spoon, an elastic band. So then you actually lift up this one that is straining, give it a little bit of assistance, get it out. Actually feels like squeezing the udder of a cow or a goat. Which I have done once or twice. And then we want to squeeze this into here. Get that to go in there. Yeah. Needs to strain a little bit more. Going down.
While you're there doing that,
yes.
Someone has a question about washing the cloth afterwards because she finds it gets a bit stuck or the poo on there. Any tips on cleaning?
Oh yes, I just rinse it out under the tap for a while and then into the washing machine.
That's what I do.
All right, so then elastic band around the top of your cloth, like so. And then we let that sink down a bit more and put that through there so that it's just hanging. So you can use any container, but as long as the bottom of this bag is not sitting in the goat's milk or whey. So you're actually getting whey from the goat's curd. So you can use that whey, same as you can use the whey from making the butter. So beautiful in pancakes, bread, what's it called? Banana bread. You could possibly use it in there as well. So there, that's that one. Now, because I'm very efficient, one moment.
Something I've prepared earlier.
Something I prepared earlier, and I know the suspense is killing you. We have our goat's cheese that has been, oh yes, smoothies as well, good for it. Here's our goat's cheese. There you go. So that's then, so it's strained for 2 hours and then it's been in the fridge for 2 hours. So now you can choose what you would like to do with it. You can add some salt and then just sort of stir that around in there and just have it kind of like crumbled up goat's cheese. What I like to do is in here I have got homemade lemon pepper. So I dried out some lemon rind and then blitzed that in the Thermomix and put some salt and pepper in there. Great on fish and also goat's cheese. Right, so we get our goat's cheese. This is a bit like Play-Doh. Yeah, you scrunch it up like so and shape it. I like to put mine into form it into a log. No, it's not going to look as professional as what you buy in the supermarket, but you know, it's homemade. And then we just roll it in the lemon pepper. And there we go. We have got lemon pepper goat's cheese. And that's all done just in, what, 2, 4, 5 hours, I guess, you've got it. So yes, if you want to give it a go and keep it warm overnight, personally, I didn't find any difference with keeping it warm overnight as to going straight into doing it this way. So as long as you strain it enough and get all the liquid out of it, then you can certainly, you know, it's quite a, you know, firm goat's cheese.
It looks like in a deli. Really?
You think so? All right. I'll go down to Coles and I'll sell it to them for $30. Now, the goat's cheese will keep for probably only a week, but again, it depends. If you put a lot of salt in it, then you can, you know, maybe get a few more days out of it. Or you can drown it in olive oil, like a lot of the Meredith goat's cheese that you buy. You can soak it in the olive oil. As long as it's always covered, that should keep it a bit longer. Yeah, so good fun. Who would have thought, making goat's cheese? There is a collection on Cookie Doo. What's it called? Something cheeses.
Focus on cheese.
Yep, focus on cheese. So then you can have a go at making cottage cheese, quark, ricotta, paneer. Paneer is the next one I'm going to make. That one's easy because that's just a litre of milk and some vinegar. Beautiful in the Indian dishes, and even halloumi. So some of them you need a Rennet tablet. So that's above my pay grade. So I just stick with the ones that I know. So give it a go, everyone. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for sharing that, Kim. That's definitely one I did not know you can make that in your day. We have a question, Meg.
Question is, do you think you can make more than the 1 litre of milk? Could you do 2?
Yeah, I would think so, but it might be just hard straining it. I would probably just do 2 batches at the same time, because yeah, when you put it into here, yeah, it's not, unless of course I was going to say you could use your Varoma basket. If you've got a bigger piece of muslin cloth, cheesecloth, then yes, you could possibly do that. I don't know, give it a go, let us know. Put it on our Facebook page and let us know if you can.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. We're heading back to the tofu, which means in Chris's kitchen, and just have a look how the thickening went. And let's see how we go. She said she's ready.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you and we can see you.
Oh, you don't need to see me. Okay, so there it is. It worked. It finished about, I don't know, 5 minutes ago. So I did add some of it into the fridge, but this is one of them. So you can see here where it's coming away already from the jar. So it has set quite nicely. Yeah, so it looks good. And then this is one I made the other day. So it's cut and it's quite thick. Unlike soybean tofu that we buy in the shop, we don't need to soak this one in water, which means it won't last as long. So it only really has a lifespan in the fridge of a couple of days. So it's probably only best that you make some just for, you know, that evening's meal or whatever. I did make one and I added 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric in it, and that was lovely. That was a really nice flavour. So that's something you can do. But getting back to what Kim talked about with saving money in, with your goat's cheese, tofu can cost anywhere, I don't know, between $3 or $5 for a packet. You know, 300 grams of chickpeas, you'd be looking at $1, I think. So not only is something like this really cheap to make, you're also saving on plastic, which, you know, so many of us are you know, so much more concerned about. So that's great. It also really only takes just over an hour, because as you can see, it sets really quickly. So if you were, you know, wanting to have it tofu like this in your meal, you know, by starting, you know, early afternoon would mean come by dinner time, it would well and truly set and ready for you to go. So you're quite easy in that regard. Yeah, so the thickening mode's great because I just, you know, like I said, I chucked in my flour, chucked in my water, I just turned the dial to turn it on, walked away, and when it was thick enough, it just beeped as it does, and it's ready to go. So yeah, I was, you know, quite excited to find another recipe to use in that thickening mode. So that was really good.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Chris. We're going to share also here in the chat box and later then on Facebook a link to the recipe community where we can find exactly this recipe. And also we're going to add one for a more traditional soybean tofu as well, because we couldn't find any on cookie dough. So definitely a gap that we can fill in here at the moment. All right, so we're heading back to Sandy's kitchen and she is going to show us the tandoori paste. That is one of many curry pastes that we have available on Cookie Dough. That one is actually from the not from the basic cookbook, from the collection which is called Flavors of India. And here she is. Wonderful.
I'm back.
Over to you.
So thanks, Jenny. So as Jenny said, we're doing the tandoori paste today. So there are multiple curry pastes in Cookie Dough that you can make. So we're doing the tandoori, but there's what is there? There's Thai red, Thai green curry paste. Once you make your own curry paste, and you'll see how quick and simple this is, there's no going back. You will never buy a jar of curry paste from the supermarket again. You'll see, you know, we're using all fresh ingredients. You can control the heat in terms of the chili and things like that, especially for the family. You know, there's no preservatives and additives and things like that that we're finding in all those jars, which, you know, people buy for convenience. But you will literally see it's throw all your spices in. I go to just my local Indian grocer and buy my herbs and spices. Works out far cheaper. You know, I can get a big container of whichever herbs or spice for, you know, $3 and get 100 grams of that, as opposed to, I think a lot of the jars in the supermarket are between sort of 15 and 25 grams and they're, you know, $3-4. So find a local grocer, you know, Indian grocer, things like that, and make your own curry paste. It's amazing. Curry paste will last. You know, if you put it in the fridge, you sterilize the jar, it will last sort of, you know, 3 to 4 weeks in the fridge. More often than not, I will freeze mine. I use it a lot for different things with my Thermomix. So, you know, I use it for marinades and things like that. So you can freeze in your ice cube containers. You can put it in Ziploc bags. Generally, I'll weigh mine to about 90-gram lots and put that into Ziploc bags and just put them in my freezer. And I just can pull a bag out of the freezer when I know I'm doing my curry, which we do generally sort of once a week. And it's ready to go. You know, you can just put your bag into just warm water. It'll be defrosted sort of 10, 15 minutes. It never really sort of freezes hard anyway. Otherwise, we do have things like these in the mix shop, which are reusable Ziploc bags. They're all silicone and they're absolutely fantastic in the mix shop. This is the small one, so you know you can use these. You just take the seal off, put you know whatever it is in there that you want to put. It might be a garlic paste or ginger paste, and put those in the freezer. So they're really handy to use. Great just to wash and then put your ingredients in and put in the freezer. So we're going to start doing the curry paste now. So I've just got that scheduled under today, and I'm just going to say start cooking. Okay, so it's just asking for a tablespoon of coriander seeds. So as I said, I've just weighed everything out already, but I've got my coriander seeds. We go next, and we need, what is it, 1.5 tablespoons of cumin seeds. So you can just see everything's beautiful and fresh. It's all there for you. 6 cardamom pods. Now this one actually asks for black cardamom pods, which is what I'm using. So they're nice Indian black cardamom pods. If you don't have those, it's not something that you'll generally find in the supermarket. As I said, I get mine from the Indian grocer. You can use the green cardamom pods that a lot of people use. It does give a slightly different taste though, but it's still perfectly fine in a curry. But the black ones, if you haven't tried them, they're amazing and they smell amazing. So there's 6 of those. And we go next. And then whole cloves. So I've just got 10 whole cloves in here as well. So I'll put those in. 2 tablespoons of Kashmiri chili powder. Now, same thing, you will generally struggle to get that in this supermarket. You can just not use normal chili powder, but it's all about just making these extra different flavors that you'll find. So hence why I obviously go to the Indian grocer. I get a big bag of Kashmiri chili. It's amazing. So I've got 2 tablespoons of Kashmiri chili and 1 tablespoon of ground turmeric. So I've got all of that in here, all ready weighed out. So I'll just stick all of that in. Just get all that out. Definitely try all these Kashmiri chilies and your black cardamom. It really is worthwhile. 2 tablespoons of ground cinnamon. So I had that also in my container that I just had with the other things. 1 tablespoon of salt. So I will put that in. Oh, just go back a little bit. 60 grams of brown sugar. Now, if you want, you could do a little bit less. I've just got 60 grams in there. Okay, 120 grams of tomato paste. Now, who has made their own tomato paste in their Thermomix? Obviously, again, you can buy it if you want to, but tomato paste, there's a really good one on Cookie Dough, and it's so easy to make, especially if you go to the market, or when we can go back to the markets, and just get a box of tomatoes. You know, at the end of the day, it's great to make your own tomato paste. So much more flavour. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's right.
You've got your Thermomix. You want to actually use it to benefit everybody.
That's all right. Okay.
120 grams of garlic paste. Now, we showed you before how to peel the garlic. You can make a garlic paste with this. I actually just throw 120 grams of just garlic cloves into the paste. If you want to, if you're using a lot of garlic paste, it's worthwhile making your garlic paste, as I said, and putting it in the fridge or the freezer. But I just use the same amount of garlic and the same for ginger that it actually calls for. So 120 grams of garlic. Now you know why my kitchen smelled like garlic before. There's so much garlic. 80 grams of ginger. So I have peeled that, but if you're using young ginger, you actually don't even need to worry about peeling it. But feel free, I just use the back of a spoon to peel my ginger, but same thing, I just cut it up into coins, and I've got 80 grams of that as well.
We do have a question.
Sorry, Janny.
Yeah, just you keep going. We do have a question about the storage of the tomato paste, or basically for the paste. Like Sandy said in the beginning, you can store them ideally in the freezer for a little bit longer. If you store them in a jar and keep them in the fridge, always cover them with olive oil or your favorite oil to avoid the contact of air, to make it go rancid. And but with everything else that you're making from scratch, obviously there's no preservatives in it, so obviously that will not last as long as the shop bought shelf extended life stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've just added 200 grams of olive oil, and that is it. So you've seen all the spices that are going into it. No nasties, no additives. There's absolutely nothing in there other than nice herbs and spices. So insert the measuring cup with the lid, put that on, next, and you can see, so we're just, cookie dough's automatically selected it for 20 seconds, obviously no temperature because we're not heating this up at the moment, and it just wants us to turn it to speed 9. So we'll do that quickly now. Next, and that is it. That is your curry paste.
Fantastic. I just said,
Can you see that? So it's pureed, it's beautiful. I'll show you later. I'll put it into a little dish and you can see it properly. But that's how quick and simple. The longest bit is weighing out your ingredients, just getting 1 tablespoon and measuring out all your herbs and spices.
Yeah.
Why would you buy a jar?
Yeah, thanks so much, Sandy. We'll come back to you again later for the garlic oil. Yep. And now we are heading over to Elisabeth's kitchen, who is going to show us and tell us more about homemade peanut butter from scratch. All right. Sorry, you're muted. Elisabeth, you need to unmute yourself. Sorry. We can't hear you. Technology. Don't we love it?
I thought someone had unmuted me. But anyway, welcome to everybody into my beautiful sunny kitchen in Blairgowrie. The weather today is just glorious. We have had some incredible winds, hail, rain, etc. So it's so wonderful to be able to see the skyline again. That tandoori paste, by the way, is one of my personal favourites. It is absolutely, the aroma is so beautiful and it is just delicious. Added to chicken, to beef, fish, very versatile. So give it a hot shot. So today I'm going to show you how to make peanut butter. I want to show you how simple, how quick and how easy. There are a lot of other butters you can do. There's the ABC butter, which is almond, Brazil and cashew. And I made a little visit down to my local supermarket and I had a look at their jar of ABC nut butter and it was $10.75. Ouch!
Wow.
Almond butter, $10.50. Hazelnut and cacao butter, you ready? $13.50. Double ouch. The peanut butter that I have made earlier today came out about $2.50. And this one, if you look very closely, same size, $9. So I think we can see quite blatantly what a money saver this one is. So I think what we'll do, let's start, and I'll show you how simple it is. So I've already got the recipe up here, peanut butter. So I'm going to say start cooking. And the first thing I have to do is add in 200 peanuts. You can use salted peanuts, you can use unsalted peanuts, and I'm even inclined to use the nut that's still got, I think they call it a beer nut, that's still got its skin thing on it. Good roughage, good fibre, you can use all. So very simply, we've weighed in that. Next, put on the lid, bingo, and we have 8 seconds at speed 4.
So yeah, crushing the peanuts there. So only a couple of seconds it takes.
So I'm going to show you how far we've got with that. It's still quite chunky, but there is a couple of things that we, as consultants, figure is I've made it without using any of the extra oil, but I thought to show you today, I'm going to follow the recipe. So it says between 30 and 50 grams of peanut oil or grapeseed oil, and I'm using peanut because I'm doing peanuts. So I'm going to pop that in, lid on, away we go. And another 8 seconds at speed 4.
So I hope you can hear me. So once this is chopping up, you can make the peanut butter just purely out of the peanuts. Just keep on milling them, keep on going. And then over time, it will release the oils from the peanuts exactly. So you don't have to add peanut oil to it. So we've tried it, you just need to keep going. Yep.
Well, the one that I showed you earlier, I did not use oil in. I don't think you need it, but I just thought we'll do it this way. What will happen is that oil will actually, when it goes in the jar, will rise to the top and you can just pour it off. This is quite a chunky peanut butter and you're at liberty, and this is where you're in the driver's seat. This is your machine that works for you and you tell it what you want it to do. So I'm going to say, I want it a little bit finer.
Keep an eye through the lid. Yeah, so using the peanut butter, obviously you can use it straight away as a spread on top of your bread, but also fantastic recipe is the easy satay chicken, which also starts actually with making your own peanut butter. And yeah, so use the peanut butter for satay chicken recipes.
Right. That suits me, that level of chunkiness. I'm not a smooth peanut butter person, but you just keep going until you get the consistency that you like. So what do I do with my peanut butter besides put it onto my toast in the morning? One of my favourites is make some ricotta. Have a combination of peanut butter, ricotta and a bit of honey. Delicious. I was going to make some double peanut cookies to show you using the peanut butter, which is a recipe on Cookie Dough. But instead, I've done something a bit different. These are brownies. And what I did is I substituted some of the chocolate for the peanut butter, and instead of using the macadamia nuts, I put in whole peanuts. Wow. So I think that's how I'm going to be spending my busy afternoon, with a nice cup of coffee. The other thing is, I think Jenny mentioned you can make a satay sauce. There are a lot of recipes on Cookie Dough using peanut butter or using peanuts. Just put in peanut butter and have a look, and maybe take away the filters so you can get the worldwide, and you'll see hundreds of recipes. So I think that's the peanut butter for you, and you'll be coming back to me later to see some almond meal.
That's right. Wonderful. Thanks so much, Elisabeth, for this. And my mouth is watering already by looking at these beautiful brownies that you made. We're heading over to Katja's kitchen now, who is going to, you can't blink now, so Katja is going to show us how to make a pesto from scratch, and just using, again, just a couple of simple recipes. You will find this recipe in your basic cookbook, same like the peanut butter. And now, can we find Katja? Here we go.
Yes. You guys can see me, yeah?
Yes, we can, and hear you.
Awesome. So yeah, I'm showing you a very quick and easy recipe. It's the basil pesto, where you need very few ingredients. We start with the actually parmesan, which you're gonna put in a thermi. Then we're actually going to mill that. It's going to be 15 seconds. It's going to be a bit loud, so if you say something, I might not hear that.
That's all right. We all know the power of the Thermomix, and we can hear that, and that's just how it's supposed to be. Otherwise, we would not receive the same results if it wouldn't show us its power on speed 10.
There's our 15 seconds. You have now grated Parmesan cheese. Can you still hear me?
Yes, we can.
Ah, good.
Oh, good.
I thought I lost you there for 1 second. So this is with pine nuts. I'm gonna add also some pine nuts in here, about 30 grams. And it says optional garlic, but we like garlic, so we're gonna use 1 clove of garlic.
Definitely. I would have put in 3.
And then you have this really fresh garlic. I'm gonna use about 80 grams. And there's actually, because this is a special, because it's called basil pesto, but you can use alternatives. You can have like spinach, coriander. You can even use parsley if you don't like coriander. I know Janny doesn't like coriander. We have mint you can use, or even avocado. I even read you can do a asparagus pesto, where you just steam the asparagus and then you also put everything in the Thermomix. Goes very quick.
Yeah.
Let me just add some oil.
Yeah, so the pesto is basically, it's a very versatile recipe, and you can use up also your little bit sad looking basil that's probably not so attractive for the dinner plate anymore, and just make a pesto out of it and give it a second life.
Yeah, exactly. And there's about, if you put in pesto in the cookie dough, there are about 54 recipes with cookie dough, with pesto. If you choose English and take out Australia, then you will find so many recipes with pesto. So we're just gonna mix that again, and it's another 20 seconds, so it'll be loud.
So we're talking a lot about cookie dough whilst we're cooking here for you, and you can probably hear that we are really great fans, big fans of cookie dough. And if you are not a fan or don't know cookie dough at the moment, just a heads up, I'm planning to do a cookie dough session soon, and I'm going to do a lunchtime session. I'm going to plan an evening session, and I'm going to take you through the cookie dough in details and make you also raving fans about cookie dough.
Have a look at this green goodness here.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and so you can use so much with this pesto. You can put it on your pizza. You can use it in your pasta, tomato, mozzarella, on salads, vegetables. Really, it's so versatile. You can just whatever you like, you just add it, and that's it. And I'm gonna put it in a nice jar now, and then I come back and show you later on how to make baking powder.
Ah, can't wait for that. That's like a complete top secret recipe we have. Now we're heading back to Michelle's kitchen, She is going to show us how to make coconut milk. And that recipe is actually from our vegetarian kitchen book. Let me quickly grab it for you. Here we go. So this is how it looks like. That's the vegetarian kitchen. And it's so easy to make. Michelle will show us in a second.
Yes, welcome back, everyone. I hope you've been enjoying the class so far. So we are going to make coconut milk. And this is another great one where you end up with the pulp and the milk. So the pulp I'll be using for bliss balls or a cake, but you can also use them in curries or in other sort of baking type or sweet dishes. So I'm just going to go to my recipes and my created collection.
And the difference between a coconut milk and coconut cream is actually just the amount of water that you add to it. So if you actually want to make coconut cream, you can use this recipe and just reduce the amount of water that you're putting in.
And I'm using, the recipe says desiccated coconut, but I like to try and find the whole ingredient where possible, or as close to that. So I'm actually using organic natural flakes. And the reason I prefer that is because it means that I can get the 100% ingredient. So it's 100% of coconut flour, flakes. If you look at the ingredients for desiccated coconut or shredded coconut, they often have additives or preservatives. So why not, since you have a Thermomix, it might just be a couple of extra seconds, if anything, and you're going to have desiccated coconut anyway. So this bag is 200 grams, I believe, yes, and it's asking for 300, but given that I've got a bag of 200, I'm just going to use that, and I'll just reduce the water. So press next. And now we're basically going to mill it down so it's really fine. So that's for 20 seconds. So I don't think it actually needed the whole 20 seconds just because I didn't end up using the 300 grams. You can usually hear the change in the noise, so you know when it's done. And that's what that looks like. So nicely milled. And if you kept going, it might even turn into coconut oil. I'm not sure. I don't actually know if you keep going what happens.
I know. It will turn into coconut butter if you keep going.
That's what it is. Thank you. All right, so now we're going to add water. So I'll probably do about 900 grams. Pop it on 0.
Michelle, I got someone asking on Facebook, is this coconut milk you're making made in Australia?
Is it made in Australia? The actual
Yeah. Yeah.
Milk is made in Australia. Melbourne. As you see right now.
Right now. I don't know where the flakes are from, but yes, this is fresh made in Australia. All right, there we go.
Thank you.
The bag, this is actually from Aldi. Doesn't say where it's from. Oh, New South Wales. Well, who knows if that's where they've got it from, but yeah. Okay, so now we press next and we're going to be basically blending it together for 1 minute.
Right. Another minute to go. And yeah, as Michelle already said, that's going to be another 2-in-1 recipe that we're just getting here. Using the pulp, we very often get the question what to do with the pulp. So I'm not taking, I hope I don't take anything away already what Michelle is going to explain what she's doing anyway. But yeah, use the leftover pulp for smoothies, for energy balls, for cakes. You could actually also use the pulp, spread it out on an oven tray and dry it out. And you can then, once it's dry, put it back into the Thermomix and make make coconut flour out of it. So again, so the coconut is so versatile to use from, and you can save a lot of money by making these things yourself. Coconut flour is a little bit a longer process, but that's basically how you would do it using the pulp here. And back to you, Michelle.
Yes, thank you.
I just did a little bit of talking.
Oh, thanks, because I can't hear when it's going on, so thank you for that. All right, so I can't lift it to show you exactly. I'll see if I can show you a little bit, because I don't want it to tip, but you can see a little bit. But basically you've got the pulp is sort of like floated to the top, and similar to the butter, you've sort of got the milk kind of at the bottom. So I'm gonna strain it now. So I've basically got my thermo server, the steaming basket to help me in this process, and I've got a muslin cloth. We do sell the milk bags as well. If you have one of those or want to get one of those, that's another way of doing it. And then you basically pour it in and squeeze. So let's try that. I guess you just don't want to have, you want to make sure it's all sort of even, so the cloth doesn't fall in.
I have another question on Facebook. Someone is asking, how much water would you use for coconut cream?
I don't know. I haven't tried that myself.
Let me have a look for you. There is a beautiful recipe in the Quirky Cooking book. Just 1 second.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
So I've squeezed a little bit of that out, and I'm just going to do that again. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. So probably doing it in sections is probably best. So you can see that. It's probably similar to how Kim did her recipes in a way. You just sort of milk it.
I've got the answers here. So for the coconut milk, the ratio is 300 grams of the desiccated coconut or shredded coconut to 1.5 or 1 litre that we're using here. And for thick coconut cream, they use 300 grams of the coconut, 800 grams of filtered water, 100 grams of coconut oil, and 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum as a thickener.
Wow, great, thank you.
No worries.
So at the moment, it's just you probably need to sit for a little bit. As you can see, a lot of water or liquid or coconut milk now is coming out because it's all blended. I'm just going to move that in there for a sec. Actually, no, I won't. I'll put it down here. I'm going to then pour this into a little glass bottle. Just give me a sec. So I'm going to try it and I'll see how it will go. I haven't done this before, but I've got my jam funnel that we sell on the mix shop and a glass jar or a carafe, I can never say it. And I'm just going to pour it straight in. So let's see, wish me luck.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
That is good.
There we go. Ta-da! And you have fresh coconut milk ready to go for your smoothies, or if you're like me, I use it in my tea as well. I try and reduce the dairy I have. So yeah, how beautiful is that? Bring it over.
It looks stunning.
Coconut milk, and that took hardly any time at all.
Yeah.
So that stays in the fridge for 3 days. Always best fresh, I would say. You know, I would make that up in the start of the day and then put it straight into cereal or smoothies. Otherwise, yeah, it will stay in a sealed, sterilised jar or bottle for 3 days.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank
All
you.
right, we're heading over to Tracy's kitchen. So you haven't met Tracy yet. Tracy is going to show us a beautiful, hang on, I need to spotlight you. There we go, so we can see you. Here you are.
Hey, hello from sunny Flowerdale. I'm making a hazelnut chocolate spread
today, which is really super quick and easy. And we love it in our house. We had a French exchange student this year, and he was crazy about making us crepes, and we drizzled them with choc hazelnut spread and banana and cream, mascarpone cheese sometimes. It was a bit decadent.
Oh.
So it requires very few ingredients. I've actually bookmarked my recipe from my phone, which is, you know, I can just log on and it's there ready to go. So I'll start cooking. Fun fact, the choc hazelnut spread was created in Italy in the 1940s, but there's one thing I don't like about choc hazelnut spread that you buy on the shelves. It usually contains palm oil, which we know is a real no-no. So the one that we've got here today doesn't contain any of that nasty stuff. So we start with 150 grams of raw hazelnuts with the skins on. Pop them in. A little bit over, doesn't matter. Then we're going to pop the lid on and we're going to mill this, so it's going to make a bit of noise for about 35 seconds.
Okay. Is helping us to don't have to endure the noise there. Now you can hear me. Yes, and again, this is what we hear now, but what we can't hear now. But the noise that it's making, I refer to that the sound of saving money. I like that so much better than saying noise, huh?
You can really hear that finish off towards the end, the change in the noise. Okay, we're going to scrape down the sides just to make sure that the hazelnuts are ready for the second go of milling. I'll take it out and just show you quickly. You can see how that's really been ground down.
Yeah.
We're going to add 40 grams of raw cacao powder. Oh, I'm going to spill some in there, just leave my lid on. And 100 grams of pure maple syrup, not that maple flavoured syrup, it's actual pure maple syrup.
Yeah, you have to be careful and read the labels.
You do. And 100 grams of milk. So because it does have milk in it, it has a fridge life of about 3 weeks. And sometimes we like, it will solidify a bit in the fridge, but we like to heat it up in the microwave and make it warm. Okay, we pop the lid back on. And this time we're going to 30 seconds on speed 4. Now, last time I made the choc hazelnut spread, you know, you might like to sweeten it to your liking. One of the things that I use, because I usually try to follow keto as much as I can, I use a monk fruit sweetener, and it's a monk fruit erythritol. And I actually like this one because it doesn't have a nasty aftertaste, I don't think anyway. Okay, so we're going to scrape down the sides again, just to make sure that we get all that mixture. And I can already see it's sort of gone into a smooth chocolatey sort of a mix, which you can see on the spatula there. And this time we're going to do speed 6.
Janny, I have someone asking on Facebook if this also would work with plant-based milk.
Yes, definitely. You can actually substitute milk for almond milk or plant-based milk.
Ah, great. Thank you.
Yeah, so definitely you are completely in control what's going in your food. And same, for example, with the pesto that we saw earlier, If you want to make it a vegan version, then a good Parmesan alternative would be, for example, yeast flakes. I've made that with yeast flakes myself in the past, just to give it a try, and it works perfectly fine. A great replacement for Parmesan cheese, if you like. And that's just with every recipe that you can find. Just adjust it to what you can have and make it work for you.
Okay, so, and that's all there is to it. Like, it's ready to be actually transferred to a sealable jar, which I've sterilised some little jars in the Varoma already, ready to go. But you're cutting back to me, Janny, to have a look at and see the end result, or are we doing it now?
No, we can come back later and you can show us the end result. Hopefully everyone is going to take a photo of their beautiful dish anyway, and we can post them later on the Bayside group as well. Wonderful. Thanks so much. We're heading back to Katja's kitchen, and that's again a super fast one, but one of the essentials, and again one recipe where I said, what? I did not know you can make that in your Thermomix.
Yeah, so actually only 3 ingredients you need to make baking powder, which is quite amazing. So you need rice flour, and we need bicarbonate of soda.
Oh, bicarb soda?
Yep. And cream of tartar. That's it. And now we put on the Thermomix. How quick is that?
You find a cream of tartar in the baking section of your supermarket.
So this is now, it's going to be loud again. So 10 seconds, and then it's basically done. What you can also do, if you are gluten-free, you can use arrowroot flour, or also called tapioca. And if you, for example, don't have any self-raising flour, but you have your baking powder now, you can easily use plain flour and add your homemade baking powder, and you have self-raising flour. There's also a recipe on Cookie Dough to do that.
Yeah, so fantastic. Thanks so much, Katja. If you don't have rice flour, you can also mill your own rice flour. All of these little tips and tricks are in your basic cookbook. When you do have the white one for the TM6, you will find them in the back of your basic cookbook right after the hot chocolate. It says the chapter is called Resources. And there you can find how to make your own rice flour. I would actually mill the rice flour for about 3 minutes to have it really extra fine when using it in your homemade baking powder.
So yeah, here we go. This is our baking powder. Ready to go.
All right, wonderful. Thanks, Katja. And
thank you, guys.
We are entering now another new kitchen. We're heading over to Maddie in Dingley Village, who is going to show us the beauty of making your own sugar variations. So just need to find you.
Am I unmuted?
Yes, here you are, Maddie.
Hi everyone, I am going to make some icing sugar using raw sugar. Super easy. So just with the one sugar you can make brown sugar, caster sugar, icing sugar, any sugar that you need or run out of super duper quickly. So I'm going to chuck in 100 grams of the raw sugar. Oops. There we go. And I'm going to put that on speed 9 for about 10 seconds. So you'll also find this in your basic cookbook as well.
So I don't know if you've heard that, but Maddie just said you can also make brown sugar. And we all, hopefully all of you have seen the 10-second how to make icing sugar. So if you keep milling 2 to 3 seconds on speed 8, you will have caster sugar. And if you keep milling about 10 seconds, speed 10, that's when you get the icing sugar. And the brown sugar, you can also make that by adding molasses to it. because that's a very wet sugar. But yeah, so basically with only one ingredient that has a very longer shelf life, and it's also the cheapest version, the raw sugar, because it's less processed. No one else has processed it for you. Cheapest version, and you can turn it into basically all the sugars that you need and don't have to wait for the moment when you need it, and then you'll find a big block of rock in your pantry, and yeah, don't need to go to the supermarket. Okay, maybe you've muted yourself, but we can see.
Sorry guys. Yeah, so we've got all the icing sugar in here now ready to go. You can use that in any of the recipes that you find. I've made some donuts here, so I'm going to sprinkle this icing sugar all over them and have a nice afternoon tea snack.
All right. I'm already envious about the little donuts you have there. Okay, let's go back to Tracy's kitchen and see how they do we go? Oh, this is showing the finished. Do we see the finished?
Yeah. So the finished product. Ta-da! Choc hazelnut spread. I actually added a little bit of the erythritol monk fruit sugar because I thought it needed to be a bit sweeter. But this is an example of how we would eat it. A little bit decadent, but I quite often make keto pancakes and have this with just a little bit of the choc spread, but this one's for the kids.
Ah, yummy. That is, it looks absolutely divine. Thanks for sharing that.
In amongst that is some strawberry jam, which is keto strawberry jam, which has been made from scratch in Thermi as well.
Oh, like that. Perfect. All right, perfect. So we're going back to Sandy's kitchen and going to see this time the garlic oil, that recipe we find in the Festive Flavour collection.
Yes, so welcome back. So we are going to be doing the garlic oil today, but there's lots of different oils that you can make. You know, there's lots of recipes in Cookie Doo. You can do a chili oil, a lemon, and maybe a lemon and thyme would be really nice. You can just really experiment with anything. So we're just doing the garlic oil today. You know, really you just want to have them sitting in their jar and let all the oil and the herbs and things just infuse into that oil, and it's just amazing. Have some fun with your Thermomix and play around with different ingredients. You know, rosemary would be really nice. As I said, thyme and lemon and chili and basil oil even would be really awesome. So I'm just doing the garlic one today because we use a lot. So I'm just going to say start cooking. Okay, and this is the garlic that we actually did earlier, the 8 to 12 garlic cloves. I think I've got a few extras in here. So garlic and 500 grams, if I say net, 500 grams of the oil, which I have weighed out already because it would take forever with the oil bottle. So I've poured that in, and you could, this is where you could add in some thyme, maybe some rosemary, just anything that you really want to into your bowl as well. So it's just asking, that's all it is. So it's just asking me to put the measuring cup on. It's going to cook it for 20 minutes on Varoma, and it's putting it in reverse, and it just wants it to be on speed 1. So I'll do that in a second, but I just wanted to obviously talk about, you know, you can store this oil in your pantry, and it will actually last, if you put it into a bottle, it will last for about 3 months in your pantry. So with the garlic, if you're doing a garlic one like this one, they get it bashed around a little bit when you're peeling them anyway. So it's nice to have them just that, you know, pressed a little bit with the garlic, just so that the flavours of the garlic will come out and infuse into that oil, which is really what you want to have. So I will put that on now, but I'll just show you. So this is one we've made earlier. It's a bit hard to see it with the light, and this one's just got some thyme in it, but they make awesome gifts for Christmas and things like that. So you can make up your own different little flavoured oils, put gift tags on them, give them out for Christmas, you know, birthdays, anything like that. People love homemade things. So do that. And that's all. So I'm going to put this on speed 1, and then all you do is, because you need to let it actually cool in the bowl. So once it's all cool, I will drain it through a fine mesh sieve and pour it into a nice little bottle for our family to enjoy. So I'll put that on now. I just didn't want to talk while it was probably a bit noisy.
That's all right. Yeah, just maybe we just need to quickly say when you finish the cooking, the oil will look a little bit milky in the beginning, but it will completely settle down. And we are, hang on, we have, let me back to me. Yeah, all right, then you can see me talking. It will be look a little bit milky, but that will settle down and it will look as clear as you just saw the example that Sandy has shown you in a couple of days. So best to store that in a dark area in your pantry if you can, just for a couple of weeks, and it will look beautiful. All right, so now we want to show you how to make mayonnaise, and I hope I got that right here on my list that Kim is going to show us the mayonnaise. Yay!
Yay, welcome back everyone. Mayonnaise, very simple, quick, and if you're not actually making mayonnaise in your Thermomix, then you're crazy. But if you don't eat it, fair enough. So the different types of oils to use, a lot of people say not to use a strong flavoured oil because that obviously will make the mayonnaise quite a strong tasting. So grapeseed oil is one that I tend to use, or you could use a light olive oil. Then again, other people say it doesn't make any difference. So something for you to play around with. The recipe says to use 200, put a jug on top, empty jug on top of here, and pour in 250 grams of the oil. I've only got 200 grams of oil, and I usually only ever make 200 grams of oil solely because it makes quite a lot, and we're only a family of 3, so therefore we don't use it all. It lasts, I would think, I'm trying to think, 2-3 weeks I might get out of it. Probably 2 weeks is the most. So yeah, you can cut it down. I've even done 150 grams and still use the same other ingredients and taken the same time to do it. So an egg, and this is whole egg mayonnaise. So we've got the whole egg here. Pour that in. And then
actually double the recipe.
Yes, that's right. Well, you could double the recipe, but no, I haven't tried that. I don't know whether you would need more another egg. I would think so. Yeah.
I done everything.
Oh, you did? Okay, terrific. All right, now the recipe then says either a teaspoon of lemon juice or a teaspoon of vinegar. I have only ever had fails with lemon juice, and I've had successes with vinegar, touch wood. So this is apple cider vinegar that I use. The difference is apparently you've got to have the right pH content, and lemons can vary. So yeah, stick with vinegar and then it should always work. So it's only a teaspoon that you need. Pop that in, and then some mustard. Again, you can choose whatever mustard you like. I like the Dijon mustard. So we put some Dijon in. You could do whole grain. You could even do English hot mustard if you really wanted to spice up your mayonnaise.
You could even do
Salt.
wasabi.
Do what?
You could even do wasabi.
Wasabi, yes. And there's another really nice recipe on Cookie Do for mayonnaise where you use I've forgotten the name, a spicy
Curacao?
chili. That's the one.
Curacao.
Yeah.
Sauce, yeah.
Yeah. So then we need to have our measuring cup in, and it's the timer set for 1:30. We go up to speed 4. Some of the old recipes used to say put the butterfly in, but we no longer need the butterfly in. It works anyway. So we go up to speed 4, and then we just pour the oil all around the lid, and it will slowly drizzle in underneath the lid, and you don't want it going in too fast, otherwise then it might split. So this way, if you pour it in, just kind of tilt your measuring cup a little bit and it will drizzle in underneath, and then pour in a little bit more. There we go. And we just wait for it to do its thing, and you can help it along by pushing it in under the measuring cup. Beautiful.
Amazing.
Amazing, isn't it? So really 2 minutes to make mayonnaise. Again, well, this has 750 mils in it. So you'd be able to make 3 lots of mayonnaise out of this. I don't know how much mayonnaise is in the shop. I've stopped buying it, so couldn't tell you. The oil, if you get this on special, you can get it for $9 a bottle. So therefore, you know, each mayonnaise is going to cost you $3. So I'm guessing the mayonnaise in the shop is going to cost you more than that for a whole egg mayonnaise. All right.
If you check the labels, there's not even egg in the mayonnaise, what they call mayonnaise. So I would be very careful with that. So definitely with this one, you know what's in it.
Yep. So beautiful. There we go.
Yummy.
Mayonnaise. I mean, if you're making school lunches, you can actually do that while they're having breakfast. If you've run out of mayonnaise, it's quicker than going down to the shop. And it's fabulous. I love steaming the chicken breasts, then shredding the chicken in the Thermomix, folding through some mayonnaise with diced up celery and put that in sandwiches. Beautiful. So anyway, there you go. That was quick, wasn't it?
All right. Okay, and we have the very last recipe planned for you to show today, which is the almond flour back in Elisabeth's kitchen. So we're running a little bit over time, so I hope you're still with us. And Elisabeth is promising to do this very fast.
I'll do this very, very fast. So almond meal or almond flour. Don't need to use cookie dough. Bang, in it goes. Quickly, you can use blanched almonds. Now I've blanched those by putting them in the Thermomix with some warm water, and then when it gets to the point, the little skins jump off.
We need
or
to
I prefer to use this. Again, you're in control. It's how fine you want it. And I'm going to keep talking for a couple of seconds while I fire up. Torta caprese, have a look at that recipe in your basic cookbook. It is stunning and it's a good one. It keeps so that you can always have cake for when we get back to the days where friends can drop in and have cake. Creamy coconut curry chicken is another beautiful recipe that uses a little bit of the almond meal, and bingo, we're off. So what I'm going to do is, whoopsie daisy, 6 seconds at speed 6.
There we go. And again, we hear the sound, the magic sound and the power of the Thermomix. And again, I'd like to refer back for all these basics that we're making. So milling the almonds or anything else, grating, chopping, mincing, even steaming, all of that you will find in the chapters of your basic cookbook that came with your machine. And so if you just want to do something outside of a recipe, refer back to these basics in your basic cookbook. Okay. Wait a second.
As fast as you can. Woo! The Thermomix comes into mind. So there you have it. Absolutely brilliant. And if Benny, I could just back up with some of the other things we're doing this morning. I had a lot of fun in a very short space of time. I made almond milk. Got so excited about it. Had to have the first cup of coffee using almond milk. Look at that recipe. I didn't think it was so quick and so easy. And then what I had left over, all the bits and pieces, the bliss balls that were mentioned earlier. Great for children. It's got carrot in. I'll never know. So that's me, as quickly as I can, in under my allocated 5 minutes. Yay! Just to cap up, 5 reasons to make your own. It's easy. It's healthy. You can customise your texture and taste. It's environmentally friendly. It saves money. Woohoo!
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Elisabeth. That wrap there for the almond milk and the almond flour. So big money savers right then and there. If you buy the raw almonds, they also have a much longer shelf life, and you just mill them up and use them up as you go. All right.
1 second, Janny, can I just interrupt you? I have one more question on Facebook.
Lovely.
Someone is asking, how do you blanch almonds?
Okay, we need to go back to Elisabeth to quickly explain that to us.
Look, I blanched those a little while ago, and I don't exactly remember, but the thing is that the recipe is there on Cookie Dough, and what you do is you put the almonds in the water heats up, you have a very slow turn in reverse, and it sort of cooks the almonds a little bit, but what it's doing essentially is loosening off the skins. And it's kind of fun, because you just take it up and it pops off. Very easy. Maybe whoever asked that question, we can come back to you and point you in the right direction where it gives you the instructions.
Okay, thank you very much.
There was one other thing too. I did, as I said, I did a price check in my local supermarket. For 500 grams of almond flour, it was $15.50.
Wow, that's shocking.
Yeah.
And again, it's because someone else has processed it for you, and that's what you're paying for. And also, if you buy shop bought almond flour, it goes rancid quite quickly. So again, just mill as much as you really actually need for that very recipe that you're using, and and have the benefits of saving a lot of money right there. Okay, so thanks for everyone for joining us today. You've been in 8 different kitchens today, and I hope we could have shown you a couple of wow things that you had no idea you can actually make them with the Thermomix. If you are interested in getting a TM6, that's the latest model we have all been using here today. You probably already have heard that you can earn a Thermomix, and I can't let you go without letting you know that we're going to have a special offer this September that you can earn your Thermomix with only 4 sales instead of 6 usually. So if you'd be interested to hear more about that, feel free to reach out to your consultant who has invited you here today, or to myself, and we will get you all the details, all the information that is going with that. Other than that, happy cooking, and I hope we see you back for one of our next sessions. We will have, I'm planning to do that cookie dough session. One of them will be coffee cake and cookie dough, and the other one we're thinking about cocktails and cookie dough. I'm actually stealing that from one of my team leader colleagues, Michelle, who is running cocktails and cookie dough sessions. So if that's something you would be interested in, let me know, and we run one for you as well. And then we're going to have another cooking class coming up on the 12th of September. So make a note in your diary already. That's going to be lighten up in spring, so getting you ready for the springtime to come with low calorie recipes, and I hope you are coming and joining us, and your consultants will share the invitation to that event coming soon. All right, wonderful. Then thanks everyone for joining, and goodbye for now.